The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
And welcome, everyone. Thank you to the No Credentials Required Saturday Brunch Band. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Saturday Brunch and No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We're proudly presented by the Belly Up Media Network. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of your hosts, and to my right is a man getting nitrous fixed in his car for his next street race, Dustin Henry. Dustin, how are we doing today?
I'm doing all right. Yes, I'm the problem. It's me. I'm the reason we are a half an hour late this morning. I take all the blame. But for all you cred heads out there, they recommended, they said, you need to get your back brakes done. They're getting a little low. I said, how much longer will that take? They said another 2 hours. I said, I got places to be. I'm putting my life in jeopardy for the cast.
Well, thank you for recklessly joining us on this. For the fans, it's for the fans. For the fans.
How are you this morning, sir?
You know, I'm still kind of reeling from last night's Firebirds finish. We'll talk about that in just a brief moment. But before that, we want to advise you about our social media channels right down here below. If you're watching on the live side, Twitter, Instagram, the scarcely used TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/at NoCredsREQ. If you're watching on the replay and Rumble, we appreciate you joining us there as well. But I also want to remind you to please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels right down here below. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on wherever you find podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Good Pods, iHeart, TuneIn. We're no longer on Google Play because Google Play is muerte.
Oh man, I know my uncle's out there sad somewhere. He loved Google Play podcasts. He said it was a good app.
And now it's dead.
Mm-hmm.
But subscribe to the podcast wherever you find podcasts. Rate and review. A 5-star rating would help. A review would help because that way it gets the word out about this podcast, where people discover this podcast, and we would really appreciate it if you do that. And we might even read it on the air. I mean, that'd be great to read it on the air. And now, because we're a live show, now at 10:30 right now, at 10:30 Eastern time on the East Coast, it's actually 10:35 Eastern time on the East Coast, and on Tuesdays at 8:05 Eastern. We're live. We want you to engage with the show. Leave us your comments. And Dustin, I know it's been a bit of a delay, but I know you've wanted to hear that magical sound.
Oh yes, of course.
These are not your back brakes squeaking. All right. So we're going to talk about a couple things on this show. We're going to go through some random topics. The first thing we're going to do is talk about local sports. Last night's Albany Firebirds game. What a finish. What a finish. And in the most unconventional fashion. Let me, I don't know if Dustin, you got a chance to watch the game. I was there live, taking some snapshots. I've a ton of photos to develop still of all the guys to playing the game. Actually, the first 4 games of the season. But the Albany Firebirds moved to 5-0 thanks to a comeback win, 47-46 over the West Texas Desert Hawks. And let me do you some I was there for the game. And it just seemed like for the first half of this game, the Firebirds just offense felt like they were stuck in mud.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't get out of their own way offensively. Defensively, they had some letdown. The special teams, they had a turnover on special teams with the bar ball, and it was kind of a mess. So they got on the board 29-15 at halftime, or 29-14 at halftime. I want to say, 29-14 at halftime. Offense still can't get things going in the third quarter. Teams trade back and forth, 4 and outs. Firebirds getting the board. They actually shut out West Texas in the third quarter. That was huge. Their defense played great in the second quarter. The third quarter. Did not allow West Texas to score any points at all. No field goals, no touchdowns, no 2-point deuces, no single rouges, nothing like that. Nothing
Wow.
like that. So great job to the Albany defense. Then came the fourth quarter. Albany's still playing behind. They get within 7, and they kick off to West Texas. West Texas takes it to around midfield. And with about a minute and change left, Firebirds called timeout. I'm going, well, why don't you wait until the 1-minute warning? Okay, what's going on here? So they got 3 consecutive plays. And in arena football, this is the way and I'll explain as we go along with the story about this unconventional finish.
Yes.
How things work in the Arena Football League as opposed to, say, the NFL. So in the last minute of the game, the clock stops only if you go out of bounds, there's an incompletion, or if you try to run and you can't make any forward progress. So on 3 straight plays, Firebirds, the Desert Hawks try to run. Stop at the line. Stopped at the line. All 3 those 3 plays stopped at the line. Actually, so it was 2 plays they were stopped at the line. Then they had an incomplete pass.
So that's clock stoppage, right? Because they didn't make stoppage. Yeah.
Because they don't move the ball. They can't move if you can't make any forward progress at all. You can't keep the clock going. It's an old school AFL rule, and it's one of my favorite things about the Arena Football League is that that's the only way to keep the clock moving. So take a timeout. Let's go for the field goal. In the Arena Football League, the
uprights.
Uprights, thank you.
Yeah.
Words. The uprights, I think, are only 6 feet wide. So you have 6 foot wide uprights, and then you have the rebound nets on the side. And if he were to miss, if the kicker were to miss, if it was off the rebound nets or off the side, at the sidebar, it's alive. It's not a live ball yet because the Firebirds have to touch it. Well, lo and behold, and Albany was down 7 at this point. West Texas kicks the field goal. It's good. 10-point lead. See people start to leave.
Oh, don't leave.
Words to those fans who left. Let me give you some advice for next time you go to an arena football game. It's never over. It is never over until you see the zeros on the clock. So, Albany gets the ball back. On the return is a holding penalty. So they got half distance to the goal. 2 plays later, 1 up scoring touchdown. Now, here's the interesting part. So, do they kick the extra point? You're only down 3 at that point. You're only down 3 because that was a 10-point lead at this point. All right, 11 seconds and change left. You go for 1, and then try to do an onside kick and try to kick a field goal, or go for a long touchdown. You go for 2. You cut the deficit to 2. Try for an onside kick, or try for a deuce, because in arena football, on the kickoff, you kick it through the uprights, 2 points. Kicking team gets 2 points. You go for 3. Now, in arena football, you can go for 1, 2. You go for 2 points at the 2.5-yard line where would be the extra point. You can go for 3-point conversion where you start at the 5-yard line. Albany is down by 4. So what can you do in arena football now? You can go for a 4-point conversion at your own 10-yard line.
It's madness.
And apparently this was a rule in Champions Indoor Football last year. This is where some of the teams came from. Some of the teams in arena football who play now, they came from Champions Indoor Football. So Albany elects to go for 4, and I'm wondering what's going on. I'm on the sideline. I'm doing my thing, taking pictures, and All of a sudden, you hear the PA announcer, my buddy Mike Falvo. He goes, "The Firebirds have elected to go for a 4-point conversion," and all of a sudden, you hear, "Whoa!" throughout the entire arena, and it's not only just Albany fans. There's a contingent from Odessa who came. I got props for them.
Hats off
all the way. Hats
Yeah.
off to those Odessa, Texas fans. 'Cause that's where the team is based out of Odessa, Texas. Shout out to the big hats off to those fans for trekking all the way to Albany to see their team.
Yeah.
It's, we talked about last week about how Buffalo travels well. Apparently, so does Odessa, Texas.
Yeah.
So then, they're trying to get the Firebirds are trying to calm the fans down. They're trying to make sure they can hear they can hear the signal caller, right? They can hear Justin Medlock, the signal caller.
Yeah.
So play starts. Medlock is pressured. I see my guy, friend of the show, Philip Barnett, go to the back of the end zone. And then you see Medlock throw it. Looks like he's just going to throw it away. No. There's a reason why our guy, Philip Barnett, goes by the nickname Lil Hopper. Because our guy's got hops. Not only is he tall, but he can jump. And he's a big dude too. So comes down with the ball, 4-point conversion is good. Tie game. Tie game with like 3 or 4 seconds left.
Nice.
So you can still click the deuce to win the game. So, oh my gosh, it's still really on my mind.
I saw the highlights of this on News Channel 13 at my car appointment this morning, and I was just like, "This is crazy."
Yeah. So, kicker Orozco kicks it. Mark Orozco kicks it. Looks like going for a deuce. No, it goes wide. However, the whistle blows. The referees aren't in position yet, so he gets a re-kick.
This is why, but everybody, because people that are not sports fans, they always ask, why do you watch sports? Why are you so into it? Because this happens. You couldn't write the script on this.
No,
this
you couldn't.
Is real life.
No, you could not. So get a redo of the kickoff. And Mark Orozco is going for the deuce. He hasn't had one all game. He's had, I think, 3 this year. He's won every home game so far this year. Misses it. The ball drops down, and it winds up bouncing off the turf, going back, hitting the backboard, and it gives the Firebirds enough time. The Firebirds, and this is how they started the game. This is the funny part. This is how they started the game. So in arena football, if you tackle if the kicking team tackles the receiving team in the end zone, they get 1 point. They get a rouge. What's called a rouge. This is how the game started. This is how the game would end too.
Oh man, coming back around.
So he misses a deuce, and you figured, oh, the game's not over. Wait. And shout out to, I'm trying to remember the names of the guys in the team. There's 2 guys in particular. Look at the roster.
Real-time research, everyone.
Real-time research.
It's our trademark.
This is indeed our trademark.
We're live.
Byron Edwards and Daquan Patton got back and tackled and actually it was Townsend who made the returner kind of stop. Then Daquan Patton, son of David Patton, former New York Giant, former New England Patriot. He's unfortunately he's no longer with us, but his son is still with us, and he plays for our Firebirds. Played for the team that played last year. I won't mention them by name, but he plays for the Firebirds now. He's on special teams. He's also on defense. I haven't seen him play on offense yet, but he's a fast dude. It's a fast dude. So Townsend gets back there, he makes the returner stop. Patton grabs him, doesn't let go. Game over. Single point for the Firebirds. Firebirds win 47-46.
It's a crazy. Only I would submit. Only in arena football can that happen because of the combined things. And thank you for cracking that egg of knowledge on us on how the rules work. But only because the clock stopped when West Texas tried to run the ball did that leave enough time. And then the fact that you can go for a 4-point conversion, which I will say, I had full intentions of watching some of the USFL, the new USFL this year.
No,
I just
they're
haven't
dead.
got.
They're dead to me. They're dead to me. You killed the New Jersey Generals again. You're dead to me.
Well, that's the thing too, and there's no Seattle Sea Dragons for me anymore.
Yeah, you're dead to me, UFL. You're dead.
But one of the rules that they kept from the XFL, if I'm not mistaken, is that that extra point tries from different distances, and I did like that. But a 4-point conversion is next level. And the fact that the Firebirds defense was able to shut out the West Texas team in the Desert Hawks, I believe, right?
The Desert Hawks, yep.
They
were the Warbirds, now they're the Desert Hawks.
Oh, okay. I mean, Desert Hawks makes more sense, but as a name, I kind of like Warbirds a little better.
I'll give you some more. I'll give you some more history, Albany team history in just a moment. But go ahead.
Oh, nice. I mean, but the fact that the defense was able to shut them out, that doesn't happen in arena football. To play good defense in the arena football it's borderline impossible, in my opinion, just because of how short the field is and everything else. So that is what a defensive statement by the Firebirds. And I couldn't be more happy that our team is 5-0 to start the season here. Class of the AFL.
That's right. And it's funny, our friend of the show, Jeff Levac, I've been saying on the radio for most of the week that the 4 teams to watch in the AFL, the 4 best teams in the AFL right now are, of course, your Albany Firebirds, 5-0. Well, they were 4-0, now they're 5-0 by the skin of their teeth, but they're 5-0.
Yeah, if you get there.
Orlando Predators, Nashville Cats, who they play next. They're playing at Nashville next week, and the West Texas Desert Hawks. So you saw, if you're watching arena football, if you watched week 1, you saw some great football. Orlando and Albany. In the NFL, you missed out. NFL Network, you missed out.
Oh yeah,
that's your fault.
Broadcast the games.
That and Lewis, what's his face, or David Hutton? Yeah, Hutton.
Oh yeah,
but he's gone. So
Lee Hutton.
Lee Hutton the third. He's gone.
I'm going to change his name. We're going to put an F in front of his first name, Flea Hutton, because that's what he did.
I thought you meant F. Lee Hutton.
Oh, well, that works too.
Lee Hutton. Where's that rim shot button? Where is it? I got it. Hang on. There it is.
I know it's not spelled the same way, but come on. It was a joke.
It's a good joke. But funny you mentioned the war. We talked about the Warbirds. West Texas used to be the Warbirds. They were the Warbirds in the American Arena League, and then they were with the NAL. But they rebranded to the Desert Hawks. I don't know if you remember the Albany Conquest.
I do remember the Conquest, yes.
Okay. So the Albany Conquest were originally supposed to be the Albany Warbirds.
Oh.
However, September 11th, 2001, that was the day that they were supposed to have the press conference to release the name and the colors, and they had to scrap it and rebrand, and they became the Conquest from 2003 to 2008, or 2002 to 2008, and then in 2009 they became the Firebirds. But yeah, I don't count that year as a Firebirds year.
Yeah, no, that one didn't. And the thing was, I remember, I think I did go to a few Conquest games. I remember enjoying them.
I had season tickets.
Oh wow!
Okay. My brother, my sister-in-law got me season tickets when they first came out. I was actually third row up from the field, like behind the boards.
Oh wow! Okay.
I was third row back. I was in row double C. And
those are some Eli storage seats, man.
those were definitely some Eli storage seats. And the best thing about it is like the two guys I got to know, like they were hilarious. Like as a father and his son, and they were great. They were great people. I remember they used to have the games broadcast on Spectrum 9 back in the day, locally. And there's this one time I gotta tell this story before we go on to our next subject. I remember that there was one game between Albany and Rochester, the Rochester Rampage. And I wouldn't say it was a very particularly close game because the Conquest had some decent teams back in the day for arena football. For AF2, they had a decent football team. Fun fact from that team: the head coach Pete Costanza, he's now the wide receivers coach, I believe, in Toronto.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he's made quite a career, carved out quite a career for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So I see this one. I remember this one play. The coaches and the quarterback are talking, and they're or a personnel player, and I see him go back in the field, and all of a sudden I yell, "Come back! Come back!" And he actually came back. And I got a look from the coaching staff, and I'm like, I didn't say it was there.
It's always funny whenever you get acknowledged, whether it be at a sporting event or a show. I have a couple stories like that. I'll make them quick. One, Chuck Knobloch. He was one of my favorite Yankees for a long time. I don't know why. I always had a soft spot for number 11 with that
crazy
crazy
batting stance where he had the bat like holding a lightsaber.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah. And when I went to one of my first Yankee games with my aunt and uncle, it was during the time. Well, it couldn't have been the first Yankee game because I don't think this has happened yet. But one of the times we went to Yankee Stadium together, he had been relegated to left field because he was having problems.
He had the yips.
Yep, he was
yips.
throwing.
Yep, I remember.
And I leaned over as we were walking in. I saw him in left field, and I leaned over and I screamed at the top of my lungs. I said, "Hey, Nobby!" And he gave me a little salute. He gave me a wave. And I was very happy about that.
Yes.
And then years ago, right around the time, probably 2012, because I believe that's when this album came out, I was at Northern Lights. It still was Northern Lights at the time to see the Deftones. I love the Deftones. Shout out to the Deftones. Nice. And Chino was on stage, and he said, "Any requests?" And we were kind of standing on like this little riser thing that was a little elevated. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I screamed out at the top of my lungs one of the songs from Diamond Eyes that I wanted to hear. And he pointed at me and he said, "This one's for the Vips." And he started the song, and I was always happy about that one.
Oh man. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to this segment, which I call Dusto's Team Ramblings. So Dustin has a fan of two teams that are still in the West, that are still fighting for their playoff lives. He's a fan of the Dallas Mavericks and a fan of the Edmonton Oilers, or as I like to call them, the Oil. Yes. And I'm gonna have Dustin talk about them for a couple of minutes because all right. So let's be honest here. Moment of honesty.
Yeah.
Tuesday we couldn't go live because Dustin had an event for his job, so we couldn't do Tuesday night. And then I texted him Wednesday. I said I can't think of anything to talk about because I think we were in that lull between the Western Conference Finals for both the NHL and the NBA starting. Yeah, and I couldn't think of anything to talk about. So I'm like, you know what? Let's just go Saturday. Let's just go on Saturday. We'll talk about it then. We'll figure it out. I'm actually kind of glad we waited because of what happened last night in Albany. Also, I forgot to mention, let's give flowers to the Albany Firewolves for their season.
Yes.
I mean, they lost in game 2 last Saturday night in Buffalo. Gave a hell of a fight. They were down as many as 6 goals. They wound up rallying. Unfortunately, they lost by 2. But shout out to them. 8 wins improvement. They go to the championship match of the championship series of the National Lacrosse League. And this team's going to be back. So come back. I think Albany Buffalo is going to be the rivalry to watch over the next couple of seasons with with the Albany Fire Wolves. So shout out to them. Congratulations on their season. But we're gonna move on, Dustin. Let's talk about the Mavericks.
All right.
Up 2-0 against another team who I thought was left for dead a couple of years ago, the Minnesota Timberwolves. So talk about that series a little bit, and what are your thoughts so far with them going up 2-0?
Well, first off, I'm shocked because they did it on the road. They did it on the road, and they went up, and the games have been close. The games have been close, okay? And I forgot because the Mavs, even when they've been in the playoffs the last few seasons, I kind of knew that they weren't going to go that far. I was just looking at the West, and I'm like, you know what? I don't think they're going to be able to do it. I mean, they had that upset series in the bubble from a few years ago where Luka was pretty good, but they just, I always kind of had the feeling, with the exception of that I believe it was 2011 team that beat Miami in the finals. I always felt like the Mavs were going to be good, but they weren't going to have the weapons to compete with some of the true titans of the West. Okay. And so this year has been a pleasant surprise for me. And as we all know, I have apologized to Kyrie Irving again and again. So I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But
the Dustin Henry apology tour continues.
Yes. But you can see this team, what really helped this team this year, and I forget, and full disclosure, Ryan and I follow football most religiously, and then it varies for both of us. But I feel like we can strongly say that baseball is probably our number two that we keep up with.
And then local sports scene.
Yes, and then local is probably 2A, and then down at 3 for Ryan, I'm going to say is probably hockey. For me, the NBA slots in. Like the NBA and the NHL are kind of tied for me, but they're both the number 3. So I kind of dip in and out. And what really helped the Mavericks this year, and I didn't realize to the degree, but they made a trade, one with the Charlotte Hornets and another with the Washington Wizards. And it's PJ Washington from the Hornets, and then Daniel Gafford from the Wizards. And those acquisitions have really paid dividends. I forget who it was, but somebody was watching the show live one week. I was talking about the Mavs, and I was apologizing to Kyrie Irving. It was one of the many times that I did that. And he said, your Mavs got some size. And boy, was he right, because that's been the difference to me so far. Their defense has been better than expected. And the play of Derek Lively, PJ Washington, and especially Gafford. Gafford is just, he's a presence with rebounds, and Kyrie Irving has been alley-ooping to some of the younger guys like Derek Lively. It's working out. Luka is doing very well, because in the series against the Clippers, he was complaining to the officials a little too much, and it really manifested itself in the Thunder series from the bits that I watched. But he seems to be focused in now. And Kyrie Irving said after the game that he enjoys playing with Luka. And he went to Luka and he said, if you need a breather, let me put the team on my back. You just let me know, and I can take over, and I can carry us. So to see them work together like that is it's just been amazing. But it's too stressful, man. Both of these victories were like 1-point victories, and I'm sitting here like losing my mind. I will confess, sometimes I turned it off and switched to something else just because I was getting too keyed up watching it, So but I'm very pleasantly surprised. But I think that the Mavs are still in for a fight. You got some Dallas fans saying they're going to sweep the Timberwolves. No, the Timberwolves are one of the best teams in the Western Conference. They're young. They have like a budding superstar.
They have the next Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree that he's the next Michael Jordan. That's way too much hyperbole. But he is amazing, and he's kind of started this series cold. That won't last. the Timberwolves will get themselves right. I think it's going to be a good series, but I am thrilled that the Mavericks are up 2-0. And if they can just win one game at home, just win one, they're going to put themselves in a nice position.
Well, I will warn you. Let's see. What do you think? So was it? Yeah, Minnesota was up 2-0 on Denver in the last round, and then Denver. That was at Denver. Then went up going back to Minnesota, and Denver won Denver took those 2 games back. So I just want to give you a heads up.
Yep.
It might be an omen. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know you're proud of your Mavericks. And actually, I discovered the other day, with let's be honest, my brother's HBO Max subscription. They're playing TNT and TNT's stream from Bleacher Report of the Western Conference Final of the NBA. I think the NHL Conference Finals too. So been trying to check it out. So hopefully I'll be able to check out. I think what's the next game? Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be an ESPN match. So I might have to go to Watering Hole to check that out, but I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember. I've been a little confused between who has what, but I think ESPN has the Eastern Conference Finals and TNT has the West, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, and to me, this is going to be a much more entertaining series. Sorry, Pacer fans, but I think the C's are just gonna take you out. And then we'll move on to the Oilers, which the Oilers, I'll be honest, the Oilers seem to have a problem. And candidly, I've not been able to catch all the games because they're on late and I'm an older man now. But
same.
There is a good chance that if the Vancouver Canucks, who went 7 games with the Oilers, and I was very afraid of the Canucks. I'm very happy that the Edmonton Oilers got past them. with the exception of the Oilers really blowing them out one game. That was a toughly contested series, and
every game was 1 goal except for game 6.
Yes, and in game 7, the Oilers were up 3-0. And people were saying, why isn't Vancouver shooting? The Oilers were blocking shots, so that some of it was on the Oilers defense. They were blocking shots everywhere. But then the Canucks scored 2 goals within a span of 5 minutes to almost take this game back. And that to me has been a microcosm of the Oilers' play in the playoffs so far. They jump out to a lead, but they let teams come back on them, and it's been very stressful. And the Dallas Stars, in my opinion, are a more complete team. And Connor McDavid, with the exception of the overtime goal the other night to seal the victory. First of all, the Oilers were up 2-0 with, I'm trying to remember I think it was 5 minutes left in the third period. And I'm saying to myself, hold on. And of course they didn't. It just, there's just the Dallas Stars have Jamie Bean. They have Joe Pavelski. They have some real veteran leadership there. And I give the edge to the Stars in goaltending, but where the Oilers have excelled is on the penalty kill. And in the Canucks series, their fourth line was very good. They're going to need to keep that up. And Connor McDavid is going to have to. Now, he's had assists, but he hasn't had many goals in the playoffs so far. And this was a big one. He needs to catch fire offensively. But still, the fact that they were able to steal that victory the other night, I'm very happy. But I'm also very nervous because I think the Dallas Stars are a more complete team. Am I trying to reverse jinx them? I don't know.
Trying to reverse psychology. I've said before the playoffs started that the Stanley Cup winner is going to come out in the Western Conference, or it's going to be Florida. I get the Rangers, they're President's Cup winners. So what? It's been irrelevant since 2013 when Chicago won the President's Trophy and Stanley Cup in the same season. It doesn't happen as often in the modern era. So Florida lost in double overtime. Was it overtime or double overtime last night? But anyway, they stole a game in MSG.
Mm-hmm.
So that was I figured that was going to happen. So they hope to take home ice back to Florida. I believe Game 3 is tomorrow night, and Game 2 of the Western Conference Final is tonight. So it's going to be. I still think that's going to happen. I still think the Western Conference is going to have the Stanley Cup champion, whether it be Edmonton, who will break the Canadian team curse. There hasn't been a Canadian-based team that has won a Stanley Cup since 1993. The Montreal Canadiens were the last to do it. Or it could be Dallas, who I think is one of the most complete teams overall in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that they went 6 games with Colorado. I thought it could have gone 7. Edmonton, Vancouver, that surprised me a little bit, considering Vancouver's youth and that the fact that a lot of them haven't been in the playoffs before, but actually I forget they have. I think they were in the bubble in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. But they haven't been there the last couple of years. But no, I think, okay, so here's a lesson learned. Don't leave Connor McDavid alone in the slot, especially in double overtime, because he will score on you.
Yeah.
But I think this is gonna be another long series. I think both. Yeah. I think both. These conference finals are like choosing between filet mignon and lobster. Guess what, folks? You can have both.
Yeah,
you can have both? The surf and turf. And I think a lot of hockey fans are going to be angry if there's another Sun Belt Stanley Cup again. Last year we had it with Florida and Vegas. If we get it again with Dallas and Florida, people are going to be upset. Oh, this is not in the big cities. It's not in the big traditional cities. Shut up. Enjoy the hockey, okay? Enjoy the hockey.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourselves. Am I disappointed? Am I thoroughly upset? No, I'm not thoroughly upset, but am I upset that my biggest rival is currently in the Eastern Conference Final? Yep. I'll root against them. Yeah. I'll root against them heartily.
Actively, yes.
Actively and heartily, but they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason because they were the best teams in the NHL this year. They won the President's Cup trophy. Again, doesn't matter when it goes to the playoffs. But I think in the Carolina series they were exposed a little bit, and I think Florida evenly matches with them. Now with Dallas and Edmonton, yeah, like you mentioned, Dustin, Edmonton has some holes they got to fix. They had Calvin Pickard in Game 4, and yeah. I think that helped. I think that helped Stuart Skinner's confidence a little bit because it gave him a night to rest. It gave him. I think your coach there. I'm trying to remember his name.
I should know this, but
you should know this.
I know, but hockey coaches they come and go so quickly sometimes, and they just don't have the Chris Knobloch. That's right.
Yeah, I knew. I was like, it's a baseball name.
yes. I was like, it's a name I know.
You know what we need to do? We need to fly to. We need to fly to Edmonton. Get you in a seat behind the glass and you have you yell, "Hey, Nobby!"
Yeah, I'll do it again.
And he'll probably look at you and go,
"Yeah."
But yeah, Chris Knobloch, he's been done a solid job. But Edmonton has some things to fix defensively. They can't continually surrender leads like this.
Yeah,
it's not sustainable, especially not during the Western Conference Final. You give up another 2+ goal lead. You go up 2-0 in the second period. You allowed 2 third-period goals to get to overtime. Actually, it was double overtime. I think game 1 was double overtime, and they still won. So you can't sustain this kind of pace for that long of a time before teams will expose you. I think Dallas has a good chance to do that. I'm sorry to say, but unlike 2 years ago when they were in the Western Conference Final and got swept by Colorado, you got game one. Yeah. So that and you take in the advantage, the home ice advantage shifts back to Edmonton. You stole one on the road. That's when things change.
Yep. I like I said, I'm nervous, but I'm also happy. And I usually don't do this, but shout out to the Stars because it seems like they're in the playoffs like every year, and they always make a run too. The Stars aren't getting bounced in the first round, so
no, those Stars are a good team. Those Stars are a good team, except for that one guy, the Glassbanger guy. He's annoying. All right, before we take a quick commercial break, our first and only commercial break, we want to visit the comment section real quick. Sapna checks in sports ball and gives us the pink hand of Sapna. Kevin Wilson of Belly Up Fantasy Sports says, do they give out a sheet with the rules on it so fans can keep track of all this? I'm your handout sheet, Kevin. I'm your handout sheet.
Encyclopedia Britannica is here for you, Kevin.
That's right. If I had one of those graduation caps, I'd wear it right now, but it doesn't work with the headphones. Cole Johnson of the BS3 Morning Shift with Cole Johnson checks in. Good morning, Dustin and Ryan. Here's to a lovely brunch. Absolutely. He also says, I know Dustin must be grinning ear to ear with the Mavericks. And then Dustin's jaws must be hurting because the Oilers are doing their thing as well.
Yes, but I am nervous, Cole. I am very nervous.
He also says, you hate the Rangers? I thought you were about all the New York teams. Not necessarily, Cole. Not necessarily. I'm a Jersey guy. I'm Jersey born. So I gotta have at least one team, New Jersey team that I have to root for. It's the New Jersey Devils. I've hated the Rangers since 1994. Here's another 54 years of not winning a cup. And also he says, but you should be happy the Panthers to shut out the Rangers at MSG. I'm ecstatic that they shut out the Rangers at MSG because, again, the ice tilts, home ice advantage tilts back to the Panthers. So if it goes to 6 and they're up 3-2, game 6 is at home at Sunrise. And they've played particularly well at home this playoff season. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about whether or not getting booed at home has a way of motivating you to do better. So stick around for more No Credentials Required. This episode of No Credentials Required is brought to you by Invader Coffee. For the coffee lover who wants good, quality coffee with no bullshit and no filler, Invader Coffee is an ultra-premium, veteran-owned coffee company proudly delivering only the best coffee your hard-earned money can buy. They aim to only serve the highest quality, organic, air-roasted coffee beans sourced from free trade farms all over the world. They keep things simple. The best coffee at an affordable price in order to provide you with the value you deserve for your morning boost. 100% fair trade, 100% organic coffee beans, 100% air-roasted, 100% money-back guarantee. Visit invadercoffee.com, enter promo code BELLYUP at checkout, and receive 15% off your order. The only coffee that goes in this mug is Invader Coffee. It's delightful. It's delicious. It's veteran-owned. Do you love your country? Do you love your fellow veterans? Do you love the men and women who serve this country to fight for your freedom? Or at the very least, get a pound of coffee. Get a bag of coffee. The link is in the description on YouTube, Facebook, and the podcast profile. I'm having myself some of the cookie crumble. They still have some of the holiday flavors. Dustin, I know you love your holiday flavors. They still have them on sale. Trying to clear them out for the summer's blends. I'm hoping they bring back the donut dealer. I know you particularly enjoy
donut dealer. Because I'll tell you, if I win the backstop challenge, which I don't want to count my chickens, but it's looking pretty good. Okay, donut dealer will be my pick for you to supply me ever so graciously with it because I'm running low, but I'm kind of waiting, like you said, I'm kind of waiting for the summer blends here. I've been rationing my bad Santa. I'm getting ready. I'm slowly clearing it out, and I am ready for some summer vibes with the Invader Coffee. And I got to pick up some new K-Cups for work because I ran out there too. But grab some, and like you said, support your veterans. This is a veteran-owned company, and it's fitting this weekend that they are our sponsor for the show because happy Memorial Day to everybody, and to veterans and current service members, thank you for your service. We appreciate your sacrifices, and go out and get some coffee.
That's right.
Because it's delicious.
It's right. Air roasted. You don't get the best thing about this coffee is that it's air roasted. There's no acidity left over. You know, you got your bag of coffee. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna say. I say it rhymes with Bulgers. Faxwell Mouse. Yeah, those coffee blends you see at the store. You get the coffee, you taste it. It's bitter. You gotta load it up with sugar. You gotta load it up with cream. If that's your thing, great, good for you. I personally, if I get myself some bitter coffee, I'm not putting any of that crap in it. I'm just drinking it black,
Straight up,
because that's how good it is. So use the link in the description. Support the show by going to the link in the description. Use promo code BELLYUP at checkout. You get 15% off your order. And again, you're going to pay a little bit more for the shipping, but it gets to your house in 2 days. That's how good the coffee is. That's how good this company is, supplying you with your morning boost, or maybe afternoon boost, or maybe late night boost if you're that kind of person. So get yourself some bitter coffee, and it's 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't like it, you can point at us and say, you gave us bad coffee. No, I didn't. I just told you it was good. But you didn't believe. So yeah, Invader Coffee, support your veterans, especially this Memorial Day weekend. And also support the show by using the link. All right, Dustin, we're going to talk a little New York Yankees baseball.
Sounds good. And before we move on, I have to say, Mark Bulger, former Rams quarterback, if you're watching, which we know you are, a big fan.
We know you're watching too.
If you don't start a coffee company after this named Bulgers, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
We also get a share.
Please do it. And yes, give us a cut, because Ryan just gave you a great idea. Right. So please give us a share, Mark, and I'll be looking out for that coffee company, although it probably won't be as good as Invader. Sorry, Mark. I'm still a Seahawks fan. Okay.
All right, let's talk some Yankees baseball.
New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees!
Ruth, Gehrig, DiMaggio, Mantle, Costanza?
That one still gets me. I hope Uncle Al's watching, because we do that to each other all the time.
Probably out for a bike ride.
Probably.
It's a beautiful day. I can't blame him. It's a beautiful day. It's been a beautiful day of the last couple of days.
Yeah.
But here's the topic we're going to talk about today. Aaron Judge, his resurgence has been incredible. Month of May, and I said this on my Twitter account yesterday, on my personal Twitter accounts at whoisRyanMCC. So give me a follow. I post good stuff every so often. So I have happened to notice how unbelievable Aaron Judge's May has been. But let's do a comparison. April. And I'm going to mark this day. April 20th. That was the day Aaron Judge was booed at home. And this was on his bobblehead night. It was on Aaron Judge bobblehead night. He gets booed at home after going 0 for 4 against the Tampa Bay Rays, who have been kind of the nemesis for the Yankees over the last couple of seasons.
Yes.
But that aside, I did a comparison. And it just seemed like getting booed at home seemed to snap him out of whatever funk he had. Let's talk about his April stats. Batting .220 with 5 doubles, 6 home runs, 17 RBI, 21 walks, 32 strikeouts. As of yesterday, this is for the month of May. As of yesterday, this is not counting yesterday's game where he hit yet another home run, and as the Yankees crushed the Padres in whatever god awful uniform they were wearing that night. So 8-0. They lit up Yu Darvish for 3 home runs in the 3rd inning. All right, including one by Aaron Judge. But these are his stats before last night's game in May. He was hitting .391 with 11 doubles, 9 home runs, 17 RBIs, 20 walks, and 18 Ks. So, Dustin, I gotta ask you this question. It's in the banner down here below. Do you think getting booed at home on his bobblehead night lit a fire under Aaron Judge?
100%. I think so. Yes. I think I can't say that this is due. All of it is due to that, but I would say a big portion is the motivating factor. Also, I think as the weather starts to warm up, some of those balls that might have been flyouts before start to leave the park, things like that. So it could be, and some guys just seem to struggle in April. To me, there's two types of hitters in baseball. There's either the guys that come out of the gate on fire. Maybe they had a great spring training and they just keep it going. And April is one of their best months of the season. And then they kind of tail off. I'm looking at you, Michael Bush. But Aaron Judge, his May, I knew he was on fire in May, but when you read the stats, it just pops off the page. So
Yeah.
I would say yes, being booed at home on his bobblehead night, which just seems to be extra salt in the wound. That definitely motivated him. I mean, most of these sports, these star athletes, they use stuff like that. Competitive fire. I always laugh at the athlete that says, "Oh, I don't read anything," or I don't watch anything. That's BS. You all watch everything. You all see everything, and sometimes you could tell when they're using it. Michael Jordan was next level at this. He would make up his own stuff. It was but I 100%. I think this Aaron Judge being booed like that has a lot to do with his turnaround. I think just, if I was him, I'd say, "Oh, you're going to boo me? I'll show you. I'll show you what I can do." Now, he does strike out a lot. He's going to go through streaks where he strikes out a lot, but then there's streaks like this where he gets unbelievably hot. So, I mean, this is amazing. Like I said, I knew he was on fire. But when you read those stats, I was even more blown away. And it sounds like Garrett Cole probably won't be back until late June, from what Aaron Boone said recently. He said he's probably
That's okay. That's okay. Take all the time you need with this pitch. Where those pitching staff has been. Been slinging it lately.
Yeah.
Get healthy. Don't worry about the timeline. Just get healthy, because by the time July comes around, that's when things start to shift. Right after the All-Star break.
Yes.
That's when things start to shift in Major League Baseball. And the way that this pitching staff has been slinging it for the last 2 months has been spectacular.
Yeah, it's been one of my surprising things. And I'll say it right now. I was wrong. When Levesque and Gaz were on the show, I was talking with Levesque. I was telling him, he told me I was one of the most negative Yankee fans he's ever treat like that. And I told him, I said, because our pitching always falls off. No, I said the offense always cools down, and in the pitching, we don't have the pitching to handle when the offense isn't on fire.
Since you're on an apology tour, do you want to apologize for that too?
I will apologize, and maybe
I'll send him this clip.
All right, and also, and I'm getting myself into some trouble here, but if the Yankees win the World Series, I will get a custom Firebirds jersey. I don't know if I'm going to put Screech on the back of it. That's originally what I thought, but maybe I will. Maybe I will. If they win the series this year, I'll get a Firebirds jersey and I'll put Screech on the back.
What number will you get?
Maybe 0. Feels like 0 is a Screech number, right? You need. I don't know. Maybe 11. I should get 11.
Why 11?
An
ode to Chuck Knobloch. Yeah.
Yes.
Or you just get, or even better, number 11, Nobby.
Oh, yeah. I'll do that too. Oh, man. That's opened myself up for a whole different kind of taunting, so I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Yeah, coming back to the main topic, Aaron Judge, I think any athlete who, if you get booed at home, and rightfully so if you deserve it, it definitely does put a fire on. I mean, unless you're the New York Jets and you're Zach Wilson, it definitely puts a fire underneath you. You want to perform better, because not only are you getting paid. I mean, Aaron Judge is getting $40 million this year. All right,
Yeah.
You're getting $40 million, and fans are paying to come out to see you at not only Yankee Stadium but at every other ballpark in Major League Baseball. No matter where you go. I mean, I was listening to the game last night, coming from the Firebirds game, and Yankees fans are everywhere. They were in the left field stands. at Petco Park last night
Mhm.
cheering the Yankees, and that third inning was just incredible because Soto hit a home run in his return to San Diego, and his return back to San Diego.
Yeah.
Judge hit a home run right after. Alex Verdugo almost hit a home run, but it wound up being a long single. And then Stanton goes deep. There's another guy who's having a resurgent season is Giancarlo Stanton. Talk about him. Talk about the Bluebirds coming out for a guy who, definitely deserved it. But there's another guy who's having another resurgent season.
Mhm.
I think a lot of it has to do with Juan Soto, his presence in the lineup, because I think he takes the pressure off of Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton, and we all know Stanton and Judge have a history of injuries too. We all know what happened with Aaron Judge last year, having that game-saving catch against Los Angeles, and he wound up busting his toe. He was out for 3 months, and we all know Giancarlo Stanton's injury history.
Yes,
but he's having a resurgent season too. He's got 13 home runs, and he's hitting 246. So what? But he's hitting 13. He's hit 13 home runs this year, and I don't think he even got 13 all of last year.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think having
batting average with Stanton, not since his very early days with the Yankees and his time with the Marlins before that.
2019 was his best season as a Yankee. Yeah.
Yeah. Has batting average been a concern with him? With Giancarlo Stanton, his batting average is going to be horrible, but you're willing to take that because if he gets hot and starts hitting home runs, it kind of balances out the other things. But his batting average is always going to be bad. Yeah.
And right now, the most valuable player on this team, and I would argue with the American League period, is Juan Soto. When it was announced that the Yankees acquired Soto, I thought this was a Hail Mary for Cashman because because if the Yankees didn't make the playoffs this year, I think this would have been it for Brian Cashman. I think he's earned himself another probably year or two with this acquisition if they can win the World Series. But Juan Soto's presence has taken so much off of Aaron Judge, and I think that's part of the reason why Aaron Judge has been performing so well in May. And also taking a load off of Giancarlo Stanton because it's not dependent on those two. You could also argue Anthony Volpe stepping up as well. He's had ever since he was batting, I think, was it 7th in the lineup on opening day, and he was mashing the ball. And then Aaron Boone smartened up and said, "Yeah, we got to put this kid in leadoff." And he's been performing pretty well in leadoff. So I think having the top of your batting order is now Volpe, Judge, Soto, and I think a mix of Stanton and Verdugo. Verdugo was hitting cleanup last night. He did pretty well. But yeah, I think having Volpe lead off and him having the season he's had. He had a great rookie season last year. Okay behind the plate, but he won a Gold Glove. Now he's contributing. I think it's a very Derek Jeter-like season. I hate to make that comparison.
Oh, man, yeah.
But I'm going to make it anyway because he's playing the same position. Derek Jeter had an okay rookie campaign, but year 2 is when you started to see him level up. Yeah. And I think I have hope for Volpe in that regard. And he grew up watching Derek Jeter. He's a Jersey kid, just like me. But he knows. So I think all those factors, having 2 guys who can hit in front of you, and having one kid who can get on base, and a guy behind you who can protect you, especially if it's a left-handed bat. And Anthony Rizzo did a pretty good job, but I think Juan Soto gives them that extra edge. And I think Juan Soto's, and you can see Juan Soto's enjoying himself too. He's enjoying himself with this lineup, with this team, and he also came out and said, "Yeah, I'm willing to negotiate during the middle of the season, so I want to stay. I think I want to stay here."
Yeah, that's great to hear because I would love to see him be extended, so that we can continue to enjoy his play for a few more years. And also, let's not forget Jason Dominguez is rehabbing now. He's getting close. I don't know where they'll put him in the lineup, But that's another option for the Yankees if somebody starts to cool, or if heaven forbid somebody gets hurt, that Jason Dominguez, he will be there.
Yeah, Dominguez is rehabbing. He's coming up soon. You probably come up there probably sometime during the summer. DJ LeMahieu, he's still rehabbing. I believe he's in Double-A, in a rehab assignment in Double-A Somerset. So he's on his way back up. So the Yankees are just going to keep adding players. And look, full disclosure, both of us are Yankees. This is the one team that Dustin and I can agree on.
Yeah,
is the New York Yankees. We are our Yankees stand podcast. I mean, we won't go fully nuts because we cover other baseball stories. We cover other baseball teams. I'm hoping to bring back our guy, friend of the show, Eric Arditi, from Barstool DMV. He covers the Orioles, so we'll probably do some trash talking then. I should try to get him back on before the next series with Baltimore. That'll be kind of fun. That'll be fun.
It'd be cool.
But no, this team's fun to watch this year. Last year was misery. Last year was absolutely positive. We stopped covering baseball like right around this time last year because we were both like, this Yankees team sucks and I have nothing else to talk about for baseball.
Yeah, I mean,
here's the movies.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is, we would have covered more baseball. We would have found other teams and things because there are things like I'm very excited about Paul Skeens being up for the Pirates. There's always stories in baseball, right, and good ones. But we decided to try the movie thing out, and we had so much fun that we're like, hey, let's keep doing this.
Run it back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are going to run it back. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. But yeah, I think there's a couple of factors, not just getting booed, but also having extra support of your teammates, especially with a guy like Juan Soto protecting you. So
yes,
we'll note some of the comments from our friend Cole Johnson. Bronx cheered at home, typical Yankees fan. Getting real cheers when the Yankees are on the road, priceless. There are certain things money can't buy. The rest is on MasterCard.
I know.
For the Yankees player, it's not playing at Yankee Stadium. Absolutely, for sure. And he also continues to say, I say the Juan Soto acquisition is the reason the Yankees are doing so well this year. I would agree with you, Ryan. Thank you, Cole. I think glad to see it my way. The Yankees needed a left-handed presence in the lineup. It seems to have eased all the others at the plate as a result. Yeah, and I think with the season that Anthony Rizzo had last year, because he was dealing with the concussion that he got when he got nailed after trying to pick off a runner, but he had that left-handed presence and he had that short porch out in left field. That's going to help. So, but having a guy like Juan Soto, who's a couple of years younger than Anthony Rizzo, don't forget, I think Juan Soto is only 24, 25 years old.
Wow.
25 years old.
Wow.
Yeah,
that surprised me because it always seems like he's a little older because he's been around. He was with the Nationals for those years, and then the Pods. But you forget how young he was when he broke in with the Nationals, I guess, or at least I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Cole goes on to say it was beautiful to watch the Yankees last year. This year, I know I won't hear the end of how good they are because of you, Ryan, and our brother Wise. And I gotta play it because he mentioned Wise. I'm pretty sure we'll show up in the chat, but I'll play the PSA.
Yeah,
because
we have to.
Wise was mentioned.
The following is a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe,
Boston.
This has been a public service announcement from Wise El Jefe.
Well, it also fits because the voiceover in that wonderful PSA is from one Cole Johnson. Those are his dulcet tones. And also, if you're in the chat, check out his name, BS3, The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Check out the show. I've watched a couple of the replays. I can't usually catch it live because it's about the time that I'm getting ready to leave for work and then drive to work. So by the time I get to work and get settled in, I very rarely I might catch the end live a little bit, but check it out. It's available on replays. It's been good so far. He covers a wide range of topics. So shout out to Cole for many things, but also and especially that one.
Yeah, he also goes on to say Wise gave Anthony Rizzo the business last year. did. I mean, you had what, post-concussion syndrome for a good portion of the season. Then he was deactivated. So
Yeah. Yeah, you know,
oh,
I'm
he's
starting
back.
to
He's
notice.
back.
I'm starting to notice Wise. Every time I've interacted with him, pleasure, very nice. But if he decides to give you the business, he goes in on you.
He goes in.
Yeah.
He goes not only goes in, he goes in. Yikes! All right, one last topic before we close things out for this Saturday brunch episode. Scottie Scheffler arrest aftermath. Oh man! So we talked about this last week on last week's show. The wild arrest of Scottie Scheffler on Friday, early Friday morning, during a traffic stop, or cleaning up a traffic incident with one person who was unfortunately deceased. Scottie Scheffler was arrested, cuffed and stuffed, taken to the downtown Louisville, the police station, got a mugshot, came back in time for his tea time, and had a great round. Unfortunately, he couldn't sustain it, and he cost me a couple tacos. But there's more to this aftermath. So the police officer who arrested Scottie Scheffler is being disciplined because he didn't activate his body cam
he didn't record the footage,
as required by Louisville police. So he's being disciplined. They also released a security video of the arrest, and it doesn't look good.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I hadn't seen this yet.
I haven't seen it either. So we're gonna play this footage, courtesy of Golf Digest. As we don't own this. We don't own this. Apparently, well, actually, I won't. Yeah, I won't show it. But it's interesting. So, I'm looking at the article from Golf Digest, and the first video is basically. It's 55 minutes long, so we're not going to play the video.
That's
at the 22:48 mark of the video. It appears that Scheffler's courtesy car comes from behind the bus and starts to enter Valhalla Golf Club. The cars eventually stop out of the screen of the video, At the 25:17 mark, Scheffler can be seen walking with two officers in police handcuffs. He again appears on the camera walking from the police car with an officer around the 42:31 mark. Then there's a second video taken from a fixed pole camera on Shelbyville Road across from the entrance to Valhalla Golf Club. It appears Gillis is running toward the officer. Gillis, who is the one who arrested Scheffler, is running towards his car. Now, according to the article, Scheffler is being charged with second-degree assault of a police officer, criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregarding traffic signals from an officer directing traffic. And it says Scheffler is alleged to have driven past a police officer against the officer's instructions, blah, 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 blah. His arraignment was scheduled for Tuesday, but is pushed back to June 3rd. And the lawyer for Scottie Scheffler says he would not enter a guilty plea. So we got the police department and coming out and saying, yeah, the Officer Gillis did not have his body cam activated at the time. And now we get the video coming out of the Officer Gillis running towards his courtesy car and him being cuffed and stuffed in the back of the car. So I gotta kind of wonder, are these charges going to be dropped on account of the fact that procedure wasn't taking place? I mean, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer. We're not a crime podcast. Podcast covering an event that happened to the world's number. Let's put it this way: the world's number one golfer. Okay?
Yeah.
So I gotta kind of wonder what's going to happen with these charges on June 3rd when the arraignment comes into play.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm just like you, not a lawyer, totally spitballing here, but I would say, how do I phrase this? The level of lawyer that Scottie Scheffler will be able to hire will get these charges dropped. I would say if you're a competent defense lawyer, you'd be able to get these charges dropped.
Did he hire Jackie Childress?
I didn't tell you to put the bomb on. Who told you to put the bomb on? Or Jackie Childs, I think.
Jackie
Jackie
Childs.
Childs.
I knew it was a similar last name.
But yeah, I don't know. And part of me, the whole, I wanted to make this joke, so I'll just make it. But can we see the pants? I want to see these irreparably damaged pants from
valued at $80.
Yeah, I want to see them. But yeah, I mean, I think there was some wrong on both sides, as I said when this first happened. But yes, it's looking a little better for Scottie Scheffler now, because it doesn't seem like this officer was calmly directing traffic, and I don't know, but we don't have the full video.
No.
But there's that tinfoil hat part of me that's like, why didn't you enable your body cam footage? You're supposed to do that.
Yep.
So yeah, it automatically makes you think, okay, are they hiding something here? But that's a little tinfoil hatty. I'm not going to get into it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the charges will. I mean, I guess we're not a law show.
Yeah.
I had to think, since they didn't follow procedure. I mean, the officer's going to get disciplined.
Yeah.
The police chief came out and said, yeah, he didn't follow procedure. He'll be disciplined. Whether I don't know if charges will be dropped, or they'll probably do a plea bargain, because they're not going to. Because the article said in Golf Digest, his lawyer said we're not entering a guilty plea.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. And I watched a video a couple weeks ago with my dad about the law and how you should not automatically enter a guilty plea when you're being arraigned. So I think they're going to fight this. I think they'll probably whittle it down to a lesser charge, because I think one of those charges was a felony, the others were misdemeanors, so it won't be on his record. And I think the PGA will be wise to say, okay, Louisville, we're not coming back until you figure this stuff out.
Yeah,
because this puts a bad mark on the city of Louisville because of what all this happened when it occurred. And there's some other things with the Louisville Police Department that have come to light over the last couple of years. We won't cover that because it's the third rail I'm not going to touch. But but because we're not that kind of program. But something's got to happen with the Louisville Police Department.
Yeah.
They probably will review their procedures. They'll probably go back and make sure that every police officer has a body cam on them. And yeah, I mean, part of it could be the celebrity of Scottie Scheffler. He'll probably won't see it. He'll probably have a lesser charge and plead to that, or put in a plea bargain for a lesser charge. He'll pay a fine and go on his merry way. I mean, part of a celebrity probably has something to do with that, considering he's a touring golfer. But there's some things you have to. If you're involved in law enforcement, and God bless you. I thank you for serving. Thank you for serving us. Thank you for making our community safe. But there are some procedures that need to be reviewed and reformed. Mm-hmm. And hopefully this arrest will put a light on it, amongst other bad calls by police departments over the last 5 years to a decade or so. But I think this will be they'll manage to whittle his charges down to a misdemeanor. He'll pay a fine or do some community service and go on his merry way. Yeah.
Like I said, a competent, a good defense lawyer is gonna find something out during discovery, and they're gonna be able to. Yeah, and the fact that, like you said, when his lawyer said we're not entering a guilty plea, that shows their hand right there. They've got enough to where they feel that they can at least get these reduced or get them dropped altogether. And the fact that the officer did not follow the correct procedure, sometimes that's all you need,
Yeah, sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes in the heat of the moment, you're trying to do something. You're trying to do the right thing.
Yes.
And you forget and you omit details.
Yeah.
Specific details.
And that goes for both sides, you know, like emotions were high. Somebody had unfortunately passed away and the officers were trying to deal with that. So can't discount that either. Police officers are human too, you know,
Yep.
everybody, you know, so
Yep.
that's the thing. And I'm glad that my job is comparatively much, much, much less stress.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I just gotta make sure I don't violate privacy guidelines, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
All right. Before we get out of here, let's talk about the first movie we're going to review on No Ticket Required. I'm going to play that sweet, sweet bumper that I created.
Oh, yes. Lay it on us. It's a good one.
That's right. The gallantry, the spectacle. Spectacle, all right. Of No Credentials Required, No Ticket Required, the movie review. We're running it back this summer. We're gonna do 7 movies, and actually I have a request for Dustin.
Okay.
Move it up if we could go to 8. And I'll tell you about in the green room which movie I'm thinking of for our 8th.
All right. Sounds good to me.
Not sure if you've ever seen this movie, but I'll let you know what it is and I'll tell you why.
All right.
But Dustin came up with a great idea for our first movie review because we're in the thick of the Stanley Cup playoffs. The first movie we're going to review on June 4th is Goon.
There we
starring
go.
Sean Thomas Scott, Liev Schreiber, and Jay Baruchel. It's I think it came out in 2014, I want to say. Hang on, let's do some real-time research.
That sounds right. And
2011. Sorry, 2011.
2011. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see Stifler himself, Sean William Scott, come back. It's been a while.
Eugene Levy's also in this movie.
Oh, Little American Pie reunion. The last movie I saw Sean William Scott in besides the American Pie series was Road Trip.
Yep. He was in that. It was also in Role Models, which was another movie. I gotta watch that too. I gotta rewatch that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, but him and Paul Rudd, that's a funny movie. But yeah, June 4th, Tuesday, June 4th at 8:05 Eastern, we will be reviewing the movie Goon. We'll let you know what other movies we're going to be reviewing subsequently after. You can catch those on Tuesday nights with us. Watch the movies with us. Watch the movies over the weekend. Review it with us in the live stream because we had so much fun doing it, watching these movies over the summer. Dustin's sister, Tracy, was in the comments.
Oh, she'll be back. Yeah, I already told her. We're starting it. And don't be surprised. She'll probably get in there and try to strong arm another movie into the like she did last year with A League of Their Own.
I invited my sister to watch along too. She's like, I've seen this movie. I'm like, yeah, we've seen this movie, but we're going to review it for No Credentials Required.
Yeah.
so maybe do the same thing that you and your sister are doing. Just hang out and eat some popcorn and watch a movie and review it next Tuesday. So
yes, and I do have I have something to say. A little bit of a production meeting on air. I believe Iron Claw just came to Disney Plus, which I have Disney Plus. So if you do not have Disney Plus, you are welcome to come over to my pad and watch the movie.
I just found out the other day it's on Max.
Oh, it's on Max. I have that as well.
There you go.
So if you do not have, you can come over and we'll watch it on the 65-inch screen here.
Yeah, I'm poaching my brother's subscription. So.
Yeah.
Wait, did I say that out loud? Oh, look at the floor.
No.
No, but Iron Claw definitely. That's one of the movies. We revealed it on social media, so I'll go over the movies again, just so you have it in your records for whoever's watching or listening. So Goon, we're going to cover first. And then, well, I don't know. We'll let you know which movies we'll be reviewing.
Yeah.
So these are the movies: Goon, Rush, the aforementioned Iron Claw, The Boys in the Boat, The Program, which Wise has asked to be on that with us when we review it. So Wise will have people will be back on the program. for the review of the we'll be back on our program for the review of the program, American Underdog, I, Tanya, and a movie to be named later, which we'll reveal on Tuesday's show. But that's coming up. So we will invite you to watch these movies with us, review these movies with us. If you'll have as much fun as we did last summer, I think it'll be a great time. It'll be a great time.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it.
All right. Before we get out of here, we want to acknowledge more of the comments. Cole Johnson saying, "Thank you so much, Dustin. I appreciate the plug." Also says, "I'm happy you enjoy the show. Can't thank Ryan enough for being devoted shifter." That's right. Go Shifters. And he says, "Great show, gentlemen. Love, no credentials required." Well, thanks for joining us, Cole. We appreciate it. So we're going to get out of here and enjoy our respective weekends. But before we do that, just want to give our call to actions here. Go follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and some somewhat updated TikTok at NoCredsREQ, Facebook.com/NoCredsREQ, YouTube.com/@NoCredsREQ. Also, if you're watching the replay on Rumble, we appreciate that as well. But also, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to all of our social media channels. And we also invite you to listen to the podcast. We've actually seen our numbers grow, seen our numbers start to grow again on the podcast side. But we invite you to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you podcast, rate and review. A 5-star rating would help. A review would help. If you on a platform where you can review the podcast, you might even read it on the air. So that's going to do it for this edition of the Saturday Brunch on No Credentials Required, where you don't need a press pass to talk sports. We are proudly presented by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. We'll be back at our usual time, Tuesday at 8:05 Eastern. But for now, happy Memorial Day. Enjoy yourselves. Be safe. Be responsible. We want to see you back here on Tuesday night, 8:05 Eastern. So, for Dustin Henry, I'm Ryan McCarthy. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on Tuesday.
Good morning, everybody.
Whoop.
By the skin of our teeth, we made it. Still morning.
Still morning for another 6 minutes.